We as a party, we have assessed the 1 year of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office. And it is a consensus of Nigerian opinion, almost 90% of the opinion of Nigerians, that the economy is doing very, very badly. Which means that the presidency needs to go back to the drawing board and find a way to create an inviting environment and a prosperous economy. The labor union demands are valid, they are necessary, and we are standing by the labor union. When the president removed the fuel subsidy, they should have anticipated how difficult the situation will be for Nigerians. They should have anticipated that the cost of livelihood of an average Nigerian will be drastically affected. These are the consequences of removing 400% of fuel subsidy, the consequences of overtaxation of Nigerians that have nothing doing, struggling to meet with daily demands of life, feed themselves, feed their family. You cannot have it all. The policy must have human face. We know that we are coming to this. And there's no way you can fault the labor union for fighting for their comrades, fighting for other Nigerians. When we all go to the same market, we go to the same hospital, our children go to school. These are direct impact on the citizen, direct, not indirect. Now, if you are paying somebody 30,000 or 40,000 or assuming 60,000, what is the cost of the bag of rice in the market today? It's over 80,000. Virtually all the foodstuff have skyrocketed. Virtually everything, including ingredients for family to cook. They cannot afford it. So what do you expect them to do? To go into crime? And you are trying to stop corruption? How will you stop a civil servant from corruption when you deny him means of livelihood? You are not paying him the salary that will take care of his family, take care of health issues, educational issues. We have our servicemen that are protecting Nigeria, safeguarding the territorial integrity of Nigeria in the field, being killed and maimed by non-state actors. What is their allowances? What is their salaries? You have the Nigerian police that virtually buy everything by themselves. They buy their boot, their beret, their uniform. And you want to have a police that will secure the nation. A nation that have over 250 million. You have less than 400,000 policemen. Our armed forces are overstretched. In every state of the federation, they've been deployed to take care of what police are supposed to take care of. What did this government do to the Nigerian police 1 year in office? How many equipment did they provide for the Nigerian police? How many vehicles? How many tear gas? How many gadgets? How many body cameras have they provided for the Nigerian police for them to discharge their duty effectively and efficiently? We live in a country where people can be kidnapped. Like ants, you pack them at the palm of your hands and go away with them. And then we spend trillions in buying soft and hardware. Are we sincere with ourselves? The government must admit that something is fundamentally wrong, and they must work hard, not shifting blames. When President Buhari came into office, the entire 8 years of President Muhammad Buhari was shifting blames on the PDP government. We have seen a similar thing happening. This government is shifting blame. We are not the cause of it. We inherited it. Yes, of course you inherited it. You said that you are not complaining. But Nigeria said, no, you don't have to complain. We are complaining. We are the victims. We are the victims. We must admit that our common destiny is our ability to reason together. And the government must understand that they don't have monopoly of knowledge and wisdom. Nigeria is not suffering from resource passes that can drive this country. What we are suffering from is myopic view, patriotism or patronizing your own party platforms, forgetting people who matter that can add value to you. Once elections are over, your responsibility as a government is to look for the best brains that can drive the government, not your party supporters. I heard when the president was addressing the Northern Consultative Forum that he did not go to their various villages to campaign as a Yoruba man, but he campaigned as Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is a very good statement of a statesman. But then how do you deal with that, with the change of national anthem? Is that a priority of Nigerians, to change the national anthem? The Nigerian creativity of Nigerians, they modernize it, and it's one of the best in the world. If you look at the categorization of national anthems of the country, you see Nigeria is one of the best. What is the fault of the national anthem? Did the national anthem lead to what we are having today? The level of poverty, the low purchasing power of Nigerians, lack of security, bad educational sector, bad health sector. Virtually everything is grounded. Was it the national anthem that is responsible for that? The answer is no. It's not the national anthem. It's not our national priority for now. What is priority to Nigerians? How do you reduce the level of poverty, the anarchy, the insecurity that is going on? And that is a fundamental plus the president ought to have taken into consideration. But you cannot go within 48 hours in connivance with the National Assembly to change the national anthem. I believe it was a major fault on the side of the presidency. They have not consulted widely, even though they don't care about consulting people, opinions of people. We, the leaders of political parties, it is our signatures that produce from the president to councillor. So we cannot be seen as nobody. It is our signatures that produce from president to councillor in Nigeria. That is the process. So we are stakeholders. Whether anybody likes it or not, we are stakeholders. We have value to add, and we've been adding value. When we make observation, we also provide solution. We don't just criticize for the sake of criticism. The country belongs to all of us. We will never be part of pulling down the roof. I always repeat this. But the government are free to use their hand to pull down the roof. It is their own roof. What we are doing is to protect the government, protect the system, protect the vulnerable citizens. And the situation is going right now. So we totally disagree with the way and the manner they are going about this. If the president have not removed 400% subsidy, this situation, this labor strike, perhaps wouldn't have happened. It would have happened in a different way. When you go to the market, for instance, those people that are selling fresh drinks, they can no longer afford it because they cannot buy electricity bill. They can't pay for it. So look at how we have gone down within a short period of 1 year. Things are in reverse. They don't want to hear, they don't want to listen, but that is the truth. Posterity will not be kind to us if we refuse to acknowledge that things are not good. On the economic side, they are doing very, very woefully. And we have said this publicly. But officially, we are mentioning, we are in tandem with majority of Nigerians. In all the media stations, all analysts have said it clearly that the economy is performing very badly. Don't forget the fact that this government carried out foreign trips with public funds. They make pronouncements, the spokesman of the government make pronouncements of the benefit of those foreign trips. We are yet to see one. But how many companies have packed out of Nigeria after those foreign trips? How many? We have the statistics that are packed out of Nigeria. So we disagree with that. The electricity tariff, which the president have shown some sort of remorse and directed the tariff to be reduced, there was no compliance. The Electricity Regulatory Agency are still charging Nigerians very, very viciously. The president must look into that and must ensure that those tariffs were reversed, as he mentioned. They are not complying. That shows how lawless the system is. That shows how lawless the institutions of government are. When a president issues a statement, you must comply with it, whether it pleases you or not. After all, how many times did we privatize the energy sector? Those who bought it promised to bring funds and inject into the sector. How much have they brought? At the end of the day, they source the money locally through our local banks, and yet we are paying for it. How callous can we be to our citizens. We shouldn't take the patience of Nigerians for granted. Now, if you look at the survey that was conducted in the entire media houses, the cost of foodstuff, how it skyrocketed. Nobody is happy about it. I'm sure the president is not happy. He mentioned it himself. He's not happy about it. But what can you do? I am a farmer. I paid over 200,000 on my farm to prepare my farm just 2 weeks ago. A bag of a fertilizer is 45,000 naira. The best one, 45,000 naira. Tell me how many farmers, our local farmers that produce their own food, how many of them can afford one bag 45,000 naira? And how many bags can they buy to feed their farms? It's practically impossible. And then you declared emergency on food. What is the backup for that declaration? I thought what the president can do is to subsidize the fertilizer, the tractors and what have you. They would have saturated everywhere with tractors in virtually every state of the federation at the subsidized rates. Farmers can go and hire and pay and expand their farmlands. But the reverse is the case. This is not good for the country. Look at the educational sector. It's getting worse day by day in virtually every state of the federation. I've seen a lot of people, giving the dichotomy between the north and the south and the east and what have you. But there's no single state in Nigeria that you can go without seeing children learning under the tree, or without roof, or without seats. There's no single state in Nigeria, including the richest state, Lagos and Kano. In fact, it's the worst. What happened? We know that the state have abdicated their responsibility. But the Ministry of Education, what is the primary purpose of establishing a Ministry of Education? You have state fund, you have other systems, supportive systems. What are they doing? The money that have been appropriated year in, year out, what have they done with it? And now you have JAM that declared revenue every year. Can you imagine? And then internationally, nobody recognizes JAM. They deal with Wike and NECO. But we should change our citizens. They pay heavily for the JAM. Even to check their result, they have to pay. What kind of policy are we driving for our own citizens? I believe they need to go back to the drawing board. Our educational system architecture needs to be changed, needs to be reviewed. We need to look inward to help our citizens have access to basic education. The agricultural sector, I have mentioned, we challenge the entire system, ministry by ministry. Let them mention what they have achieved 1 year in office. Every ministry you can call. Let them come out and tell us this is what they achieved 1 year in office. I believe this is the best way to assess the performance of the government. President Bola Tinubu said that ministers will be assessed in every 6 months to know their performance. This is 1 year in office. What is the assessment of the Minister of Education? What have they impacted 1 year in office? The journalists need to ask that question. The government needs to be open and transparent. The ministers need to be transparent. They are not serving themselves. They are serving Nigerians. Nigerians need to know. You have 1 year budget. What have you done? What did you do to transform the educational system in 1 year? How many schools have you reformed? Federal schools. If you say, okay, most of the schools are under states, the federal ones, federal universities, how many have you equipped to international standard? How many universities? Now, if you look at what the government mentioned or some of the achievements 1 year in office of, and then, what do you call it? Uninterrupted democracy. All over the world, we all agree, deepening democracy refer to the process of further strengthening and expanding democratic principles and practice within a society. It involves empowering citizens to participate in decision-making processes, promoting transparency, accountability, and ensuring the protections of human rights and equality. There are several ways to deepen democracy. It involves fostering a culture of active citizenship where individuals are encouraged and empowered to participate in political processes and the civil society organization. This can be achieved through initiatives such as civil education, community outreach program, etc. I don't know if we have achieved that or 1% of it. If you look at it, our infrastructural developments have gone from bad to worse. I mentioned the health sector. There is no single hospital 1 year in office that have been equipped that they can mention or as a referral hospital that is up to date for Nigerians. I visited some of our general hospitals recently. Simple machines for dialysis and others are not working. You have to go to the private laboratories and you pay very, very heavily for it. You can imagine somebody who cannot afford 10,000 and he has an ailment that demands a lot of scanning, a lot of x-ray, where he's supposed to get it at the cheaper rate at the government hospital. The machines are not working. The machines are there, but they are not functioning. Now he needs to go to a private center to pay for 200,000 or 300,000 naira. A size of Nigeria that have a national hospital that is in decay. You have Federal Medical Center, the public wing and the private wing. You have the general hospital where you have experienced doctors, even though some of them are leaving Nigeria and the nurses. And we think we are serious. And nobody should complain. Nobody should talk. This is not who we are. Those who fought for the independence of Nigeria at the early stage provided some of these basics for the citizens. Nigeria is well endowed. We are a very rich country. No justification for the citizens to go through what they are going through today. And I believe President Bola Tinubu is one of a rare privileged Nigerians at his age to be a president of Nigeria. What is of utmost importance to him is to leave a legacy behind. When an elderly person becomes the president of a nation, it means that he's not looking for a house, he's not looking for a car, he's not looking for anything fancy. What he's looking forward to is to leave a legacy for the nation. The citizen can be proud of, the citizen can make reference to. May God bless late Umar Yaradua. How many years in office? People make reference to some of the very strong decisions he has taken to overhaul the system. Where are we today? Virtually all those policies have been reversed. Look at them one after the other. He brought a policy that have reconciled the country. People developed that patriotism that Nigeria is working. So if this democracy system of democracy, presidential system of democracy is not good for the nation, we have to develop the one that can fit our peculiarities. We cannot keep on going on copy and paste system of government. We cannot survive it. The nation cannot survive it. The governors have abdicated their responsibility. Because if the governors are working, some of this insecurity would have been napped at the state level. I was a chief of staff. I'm not a novice to how government is being run. I know how coordinating it is. But you have governors that nobody can call them from the villages. Nobody will have access to even a commissioner. Not to talk of a councillor who feels he's a councillor. People from his community cannot call him. He's a big man. It's a bad system that we are running, which is not healthy for the country. Extremely very expensive. And then you remove the fuel subsidy. You say you save trillions. And you are distributing trillions to the states. There's no single changes. I must commend the president for fighting to liberate the local government autonomy, which is a very good thing to do. We must fight it all through to liberate our third tier of government. It's dead. The governors have suffocated it. So it was a good decision the Attorney General of the Federation have done. It's one of the achievements I can mention they are working on. If we can liberate the local government system, it will go a long way in reducing this level of poverty and rascality that is going on in the system. According to the Dr. Akinwumi Adeshina, look at what he said. According to the sector operators, the cost of exporting 1,000 tons of cargo in Nigeria is $35,000 compared to $4,000 in Ghana, $4,000 in Ghana. Today, the leading ports for West Africa are Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic. And all these countries have modernized their port management system, leaving Nigeria far behind. This is the president of African Development Bank. And that is the truth. If you are an importer, you know what you go through in our ports. What's the justification? Why are we shortchanging our citizens? What moral reason do we have to defend that? I think the president must look into this. If the president wants to leave a modernized system, a modern Nigeria, this thing needs to be reviewed. The era of few people forming a cartel to hold Nigeria hostage should be a history. Nigeria is being held hostage. The president is very eloquent. I've listened to him. I've listened to his presentation. I don't want to believe that he's not aware. Because virtually in all his presentation, he sounds current about what is going on. So what's the problem? Is it lack of will to implement? Or is it being submissive to Western demand that compromises Nigerian citizens? At our level of independence, our level of resources, we are paying lip service to foreign interests, compromising local interest. This is not who we are. And the president must change all this. He must stand firm. He must defend the Nigerian interest first. When Trump was saying America first, he meant it. Nigeria interest must be first. No foreign interest should supersede Nigerian interest. No foreign interest whatsoever. Foreigners are free to come and invest in Nigeria. But you cannot compromise a population of over 250 million for an interest of either World Bank or Western powers. Otherwise, we have nowhere to go. And we cannot allow it to continue. The National Assembly must live up to their expectations. If the National Assembly understands, and according to survey that was conducted, 80% of Nigerians score them very, very poorly. The Senate President and the Speaker must look at those polls. The senators must look at those polls because it will be part of their history. You cannot, within 48 hours, pass a resolution or a law to change the national anthem, and you have national issues that are very precarious. Before you are taxed, you have not acted on them. You have people being kidnapped daily. You have not come up with a robust order within 48 hours to deal with it. You have skyrocketing foodstuff. You have agencies that are in charge of monitoring food supplies and what have you. You have not within 48 hours came up with a bouncing order, strict and decisive. But within 48 hours, you pass a bill of changing the national anthem. Something is fundamentally wrong. They need to know. Nigerians are watching. The Nigeria of 10 years ago is not the Nigeria of today. The social media that you are seeing is not leaving anyone. There's no cover for everyone. Whatever we do will be held responsible for it. It's being recorded on daily basis. Some of the things we saw on the social media, it keeps being my imagination, how do they get access to it? That shows that the biggest weapon that has ever been produced is this telephone system. It's the biggest monitor of the world. It checkmates excesses of everyone. So the government must be very careful about their behavior. Classified documents are going out on daily basis. That shows that something is wrong with the management of the system. Some people within the system are sabotaging the system. So you don't mix up priorities and allow system to be compromised by few people who believe in commercializing Nigeria. Nigeria must survive. Nobody created Nigeria. It is God in his infinite mercy that created Nigeria. And I heard the president last week saying that nobody bargained to be a Yoruba man or a Hausa man or an Igbo man or any other tribe. These are the sole authorities and powers of God. And God have decided on that. Nobody can change it. Now, if the president can say this, which means there is no reason why people should be treated differently, irrespective of tribe or location or where they come from. If you want to get a job for someone, you have to find a way to bribe or lobby. When Nigerians are competent for a job, they cannot get it. They have to keep on going around the cycle, seeking for intervention, someone to talk to someone. It happens to me of recent. My elder brother's son, who went through a training to join Navy. Some people that have not participated were taken. Him that participated and passed through, he was not taken. And the boy was crying, calling me to intervene, to do this. I said, look, I'm not going to bribe anybody. He's a nurse. And he's going as a nurse. Why should I go and bribe and lobby somebody for something that is all right? So these are the situations that we are in. The more we deceive ourselves, the more we'll go into deeper problems. It's not good for the country. The agencies must allow Nigerians to feel that the country belongs to them. You don't discriminate. Because my father is a president, and somebody's father is not a president or is not a councillor, his child will not have opportunity to get employed. This is not rational. This is not patriotism. These negative vices must be eliminated. Anybody found within this corridor discriminating against Nigerians must be dealt with, must be punished. If we want to live a nation that can lead by example within the sub-region and around the world. Our perception around the world is very bad. Go to our embassies all over the country. They can't even maintain themselves. How do they protect the image of Nigeria? If you have embassies that are not working, they cannot pay salaries, do the diligence that they are employed to do, what is the essence? That is the level that we are. If Nigerians who are in diaspora passport expired, they find it difficult to renew it. Extremely very difficult. They get stranded. I listened to recent policy of the Ministry of Internal Affairs directing all those passports have expired, they should be allowed to come back. What is wrong with our embassies that you cannot fix it there? To get our passport renewed where they are. How does the system function with this kind of behavior? Was it that we cannot afford the machines or the system? They will always tell you that the network is bad. Just like in the banking system. You do transaction, you will not see a lot. What is the problem? The system is bad. The network is bad. Everything is bad. Was it bad? No. The operators are bad. Corruption have eaten very deep. Sycophancy have eaten very deep. So, now, if you look at also on the educational system, this is the report of the People Gazette. More Nigerian students drop out of school due to Tinubu economic policies. This is ASU chairman. More Nigerians. In fact, the government admitted, the governors admitted themselves. We have more dropout in schools all over the state of the Federation. There's no single state that have not been affected. The purchasing power of parents have gone very low. They can't pay school fees. If you look at the statistic of the resumption date of schools, you see the percentage of each school, children that have resumed, and children that have not resumed school. And the interviews that were conducted around the parents, what do they answer? That they can't afford to pay the school fees. So these are facts that are on ground. So 1 year of this government, we are experiencing a more complicated system that he inherited, which he promised he will fix. He has the capacity to fix them. We are just drawing his attention that these are documents that are on his decks and he needs to fix them. Don't pay lip service to them. Do the needful. Nigeria will be happy. They will be grateful to you for fixing these problems. Now, I've mentioned before, the change of the national anthem did not change the bills Nigerians are paying. It did not change the corruption. It did not change the insecurity. It did not change any of them. It did not stop kidnapping. Has it? If it is a national priority, within 24 hours of changing the national anthem, everything would have reversed, including the inflated cost of living. So that shows that it's not a priority. I saw various videos where they are mocking the president, they are mocking Nigeria. I feel ashamed as a citizen that at this stage, and I can tell you this, from 55 years down, none of them can recite this old national anthem they have brought back. None. I cannot recite it myself. Because when I grew up from primary school, what I learned is our national anthem, Arise, O Compatriots. So you will take me back to primary school to start learning the new national anthem? How will you do it? So that it will be on the lips of Nigerians. I saw the National Orientation Agency directing that every institution should start teaching it. How do you teach somebody who is hungry? How do you teach him? How do you teach somebody who is not secured? He's trying to get freed. Was it national anthem that will free him? These are the truths. Now, in aspect of security, yes, they are doing their very best. There's a lot of improvement. Most of the ring leaders are gone. Of recent, we have seen one of the most notorious kidnapper was also captured in Niger, which is a good omen. The federal government also commented that. He was captured in a village. The Nigerian armies captured them, about 60 of them, in one village. What is the sophistication of the Niger army or security agencies compared to Nigeria? That we couldn't trace them. But Niger was able to trace them and arrest them with their weapons. The most notorious of all the kidnappers was captured. So we need to connect back and face reality as a nation. Now, same economy. Look at it. The Naira metrics. 767 manufacturing companies shut down in Nigeria. 350 billion goods unsold in 2023. And you know, as journalists, a lot of industries have collapsed. Recently, I watched the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. When he was being interviewed, he said that he have closed down all his companies. He's one of those you can say have a lot of investment in Nigeria. But he said he has closed them down. So you can see the level of decay we are going through. Finally, I have mentioned we are in solidarity with the labor union. The life of Nigeria needs to be changed. The presidency must face reality. They caused this problem. They overtaxed Nigerians. And Nigerians' cost of livelihood have skyrocketed. They need to meet up. I saw one civil servant who was rascally in his presentation. He said that, look, if you have any opportunity to steal, he will steal. Because the salary cannot take care of him, not to talk of his family. So if you have any opportunity to steal, he will steal. He said it publicly. The video have gone viral everywhere. He's a civil servant. That is the pains that people are going through. On this note, I want to thank you and thank the NWC members. This is our position as regards to the economy and 1 year in office. We hope the presidency will take it in good faith. We are ready to partner with the presidency to move the country forward. We are ready to add our value constructively so that we can move the country forward together. On the issue of merger, it's not on our table. It's not yet time. But you know, mergers are very complicated, especially such merger like APC merger. We have seen where it has led the country into. Nobody is rushing into any merger. Merger will not solve the problem. What will solve the problem is the sincerity of the leaders willing to come together and solve the problem. I could remember vividly, I was in the committee that was tasked with the responsibility of changing the name of PDP before, when I was in PDP. And virtually all the submissions agreed that the PDP name should be changed. I stood among those high-profile Nigerians. I told them, no, the problem is not the name. The problem is the actors. Because name doesn't breathe. It's the actors, the characters that are running the party that matters. If they cannot change their attitudes, their behaviors, then there's no way the party can change. Whether you like to call it Golden Party, whatever party, is useless. It is the drivers of the party behavior and believing in the system, the internal democracy of the system, that will attract everyone. So we can talk of merger from now till the kingdom come. There are people that I know in this country, every election they will talk about merger. Every conference they will talk about merger, but they have never succeeded in getting that merger right. Because they themselves, they are greedy, they are not serious about it. So what matters is get a party that is willing to adjust, to allow internal democracy to prevail, give everybody a free space to exercise his rights, his franchise, to contest. Don't take people out. That's what it is. It's not about merger. Merger will not solve the problem of Nigeria. It is because somebody is desperate to be a president. So it's talking about merger. We have seen that in the APC. They took out PDP 16 years in office. But what is the difference? Within themselves that they have merged, they are disintegrated. Most of them have moved into SDP right now as I'm talking to you. So as a party, we are standing very firm based on our principle. More people are in discussion with us. Well, if you choose to call it merger, fine. But we are looking at it as fusion. People are fusing in, are strengthening what we have, are giving value to what we have. That is what is important to me. Not to go and sit down with somebody who will undermine me later on, who will be treacherous, who will undermine the system, who will compromise the system, and we'll all lose it at the end of the day. The parties are being crippled, are being funded to be crippled right now. Most of the crises of the parties were funded. We are not saying that we are an exception. There's an attempt on us. But we are standing on our feet. We know the system. We will fight it through, and Nigerians will be on our side. But we will not stand by and allow the system to be compromised simply because one party wants to rule Nigeria forever. No party will rule Nigeria forever. Arrogantly, PDP said they will rule for 6 years. Arrogantly, this party is saying they will rule forever. I don't know how they can rule forever when the system is collapsing.